better future is built by the brave, envisioned by brilliant minds, born from the passions of thousands strong. One that isn't without risk, but protected from it. Safe from all the worries and secure for what's to come. Because a better future with the greatest empires, the strongest communities, and the happiest families will always be worth having. That's why the bold and the fearless understand that recreating something better takes courage and strength. So together, let's start shaping a better future today. Recreate a braver tomorrow.
The financial industry has always been a customer-centric, and our current situation proves to be no different. You have adopted and gone beyond the traditional means of customer engagement. As the industry transforms, customer experience must have always been important too. You have ensured that even at the most difficult of times, seamless and frictionless transactions is for everyone is a must. In today's webinar, we'll bring you a meaningful insights from industry experts and aid you in our digital journey. Good morning, everyone. My name is Andrea Bautista of Globe Business, and welcome to our webinar session entitled Transforming Finance, Becoming a Customer-First Digital Enterprise. Let us officially start our session this morning with the opening remarks from one of my distinguished colleagues in Globe Business. Guests, let us all welcome Ms. Karen Cafe, Sales Director for Financial Services Industry.
Good morning to our dearest clients and welcome to our first ever exclusive event for the financial industry. Before we start with today's sessions, I would like to acknowledge the presence of our partners from Yondu and Gcash, our key enabler for financial inclusivity and advancement in the country, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, represented by Director Melchor Plabasan. Thank you for joining us this morning for another learning session with our partners that can surely help you progress towards your goals this year. In Globe Business, our main thrust is to cater to your needs and demands as an industry by equipping you with knowledge and moreover, solutions that can propel your business towards new heights. As we progress towards a better 2021, we are here to support you in your plans for the betterment of both your clients and enterprise you belong to. Being exposed to voice of the customers, not just in the financial industry, but across others that belong to the services sector, digital transformation has been a key priority that everyone has been vocal about. And as everyone goes digital, one may ask, how do you stand out from the crowd? How do you become more relevant to your existing customers? Furthermore, how can you expand your current base given the tightening and digital progressive ecosystem? Customer experience is one of the most important aspects of a business. And while the current situation limits and somehow prevent us from meeting our client, as we dig a little deeper to know them beyond their financial profile, it is time that we learn their behavior, their personal preferences, their life needs. Their voices matter, and their voice is the best anchor in the plans and projects that you will be rolling out. You are the catalyst of transforming the financial sector, ensuring inclusivity for all Filipinos. So today, we deep dive on how you, the banking industry, and insurance firms can maintain and sustain the relevance of your customers by putting them in everything you do. This webinar will walk you through how you can become an enterprise that zeroes in on your customers, from designing your digital channels to creating engaging content and features to encourage your end users to journey with you. And lastly, guide you through regulatory movements that will enable you to go beyond. We have an exciting roster of speakers that can help you and guide you. So for today, we encourage you to take part in the next step towards a better and transformed financial industry. Thank you and good morning, everyone.
Thank you very much, Karen, for that powerful opening remarks. Yes, is it true that being an account manager, one of the things that has been innate to me is my being a customer-centric. And as Karen mentioned, to stand out from the online and digital crowd, we really need to listen to our customer and look beyond their balance sheets. Karen also mentioned that you are all the catalysts in improving the digital touchpoints of customers and primarily in charge of delighting their overall customer experience digitally. We have seen a rise in launches and announcements of applications and websites, especially for the financial sector. So Karen, before I let you go, parang song lang natin, right? So we want to make this a webinar as light as it is, you know. So in your personal experience, Karen, what are the top 3? I will not ask top 10 or top 20 from you, top 3 na best, let's say you can't imagine that you will do, but since we are in a challenging times now, what are the 3 major experiences that you are personally doing it right now, before and after the pandemic?
Okay, actually, I want to share my shift from the traditional, usual face-to-face transaction to a digital one. So before, you used to go out for the payment and transaction, one to site actually for the benefit of our audience here. Like I have my personal insurance. Before I used to meet my agent, let's say for renewal of my insurance, but now with our limitation for because of this pandemic, the transactions are all online. They email me a digital copy of my policy for my renewal. Also, actually, two insurance company did that already. Even their receipts are all e-receipts now. It used to be the actual physical receipt that I'm receiving from my insurance provider. During the pandemic also, I tried opening an account for a digital bank, and it's very quick. I think about 5 to 10 minutes, I already have it. The KYC is very easy. It's very fast on their approval. The transaction also, since it's a digital, I can do transfer, deposit online, withdraw online, payment online. So lastly, there's also a rises of a community market. I think you also have that in your place. In our place, there is a community market, and I'm very surprised that all the sellers, whether it's fish, vegetable, meats, or cookies, cakes, they all accept online payment. So that's a big shift from the usual thing that we're doing. And aside from this webinar also, I just want to add 4 on my 4th is we can do meetings, we can hold events like this online. We used to hold this in BGC, Shangri-La Fort. Remember, we always hold our events there. But now all our events are online, meeting clients are online, pitching sales pitches are also online. But it's a good realization that everything can be done online. So that's the power of digital.
All right. I super agree with you, Karen. Even me, I have a personal experience, pero I will not share it now. I'll let the speakers talk about it later. So for our dear valued clients, please give yourself a tap on the back for making our lives easier in this challenging time. So applaud to you, everyone. All right. Thank you so much again, Karen. All right. Moving on to kick things off, it is my delight to introduce our first speaker this morning with a combined experience in IT, consulting, and outsourcing. Peter Jules is a B2B and B2C business development leader, providing organizations with innovative services, solutions, and tools to address challenges and activate their business directions, talent and strategies and resources. He has championed the growth and digital transformation initiatives of his partners and his clients. Furthermore, he has helped organizations achieve their business goals, operational excellence, and increase bottom line through IT solutions. Peter Jules is currently the Business Development Director of Yondu and handles the banking, financial services, insurance, conglomerates, cooperatives, healthcare, utilities, and IT BPM sector. A 2018 Employee of the Year, well-awarded Business Development and Sales Leader, Growth Champion, Strategies, and Innovator. To talk about designing the best digital platforms for our customers or for your customers, please welcome Mr. Peter Jules Canete, Business Development Director of Yondu.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much, Andrea and Karen, for the introduction and, of course, the opening remarks. So first of all, welcome to this webinar event of Globe EG. And we welcome all of our clients here. I think everyone I can see in the attendees right here today. So welcome, everyone. It's a gloomy Wednesday here in my place. And I hope everyone else is also safe at home. Okay, so let me just share my screen and then let's make this talk very interesting today. So let me know if you can see it. Can you see it all? I'm gonna share it now, present it now. Here we go. Okay. Let me know if it's moving now. So let me just check if you're all here, all eyes and ears on the screen and on your laptops or your devices. Is it moving? Okay, can I ask everyone to say hi in the chat box, please, so we can see who's here? Okay. Hello. So yeah, perfect. So yeah. All right. So good morning once again, everyone. So I will be discussing today more on how to become a customer-first digital enterprise as part of the banking, financial sector, and insurance industry. So we have all heard a lot of new normal about digital transformation in the past year, and of course, even this year, as business leaders or business influencers. So there's a lot of things going on because of the pandemic, and of course, looking into as well the long-term effect of the pandemic. So all of our businesses on a personal level and on a professional level, as business leaders, you are all probably thinking of what are the ways to ensure that our business are going to be stable or are going to still be functioning or still operating as it is. So most of the banks, financial sector, financial services and insurance companies are actually going to Globe and going to Yondu to ask about what are the telco services that could probably help them and what are the IT solutions that could probably help them in terms of addressing all the concerns revolving around the pandemic. And of course, the long-term effect of the pandemic. So that's all our topic for today. The question will always be about how do we thrive in the business challenges. So we have to always stay relevant and to stay efficient. So how do we do this? First is being relevant, of course, means we have to make to ensure that our business will have to stay despite all the challenges that we are experiencing right now. So probably, for example, for a bank, as mentioned by Karen earlier, or an insurance, they have to go to a physical store, they have up to physical office, and they have to meet the actual agent. So right now, because of the limitation of the face-to-face interactions or going to the actual office, so we have to find a way wherein we have to be able to meet our clients. So that's basically one of the aspects of being relevant. And being efficient means, one is quality, second is cost savings, and third is looking at our timeline as well. Um, we can deliver projects or design and development projects. Probably most of the attendees right now, our guests, are coming from the IT or coming from the business side of your organization. So when we say efficiency, it has to be the three of them. So we cannot deliver a certain IT project or a business project that is just really talking about quality or talking about we need to save. But without quality or without looking into a certain timeline. So we have to ensure that when we deliver a certain project, when we design a certain project, and when we develop it for our business, for our clients, it has to check all of the three factors, which is ensuring the quality, making sure that it's cost saving, and third, it is within a certain timeline. So for example, if you want to have your mobile application or your web application or your certain platform within the next 6 months or within a year, it has to happen within that particular timeline. It should not be after the pandemic or probably after 3 years or 5 years. It has to be within a certain timeline. So that's basically the question of some of the clients that are going to Globe and to Yondu right now. So this is what we are going to share with you later on, some of the best practices of how to stay efficient and how to stay relevant and how we grow our businesses, especially your businesses with your clients and with your customers. One is we have to reduce expenses and increase the productivity through automating the processes. Probably you would say, okay, we know already that's robotic process outsourcing. That's probably creating the digital platforms from the manual things. So, but the question would always be, how sure are you that you are already maximizing the automation tools that are available to you, or with all the platforms and mobile applications and web applications that you have already in your company. So that is also what Globe and I think Yondu is really championing. And we are very passionate about all these things. And hopefully today we will be able to share with you some of the high-level best practices that we are doing as Yondu and as Globe. Next is, with all the challenges that we have been experiencing right now, the biggest challenge for all of the businesses is to ensure that there is still a lot of clients coming in while we protect and we put first the interests of our current clients. So we really have to ensure that there's a lot of channels that our possible new clients can use for us to deliver our services. So for example, for a bank, for sure, it's the mobile app, it's the web app. That's the usual probably that you might think. But there are also a lot of things that are coming in right now. For example, in other countries, especially in Europe, Facebook is actually already becoming a bank. So Facebook has a feature wherein they can transact as a bank, like Gcash, and like operating as a normal bank. So basically, in the Philippines, we have to ensure that the banking, financial services sector, and insurance sector are able to adapt to whatever the global market is already doing. And Globe and Yondu are here to help you on that, which hopefully, again, later on, we are going to share with you some of the best practices. And that's how the way it is in other countries. And hopefully in the Philippines, we will be able to share or to do that also for you. Or you can also do internally as within your IT team in your business. So lastly is basically going to digital or through digital transformation. So innovation of what are your existing processes, what are your existing business models, and addressing whatever the needs of your client. So again, everything, all of these three steps are basically for our clients. So because we cannot be a business or be the bank or be the organization that we are without our clients. So basically all of these three things are basically some of the very common but are the very important and easy ways for us to be able to adapt to digital transformation. So again, digital transformation is the way to go. Probably you will say, we already have a lot of things going on. We have a lot of IT services or IT projects being done today. And we have really a lot. Probably that's basically the usual scenario of all the companies right now, especially the banking sector, financial services companies, and insurance companies. But we have to always anchor ourselves. Is our design good? Is the user experience there? Are we able to address the pain points of our clients? Or are we at par with the competition? Or what are happening outside the country? What are the best practices that we should be doing? So those are the questions that hopefully we will be able to address today. So before we go to that, let's have a little bit of a throwback. Today is Wednesday, so let's have a throwback Wednesday. So do you remember the last time that when a payday comes, you go to an ATM, you line up, or you go to a teller and to transact a certain amount, or you go to an insurance company and request for a policy or claim your benefit? So basically, probably February and 2019 or prior to March 2020, we have been transacting all the banking transactions, financial services, and insurance transactions via face-to-face transactions. We line up and there's limited transactions that can be done within the web app and the mobile app of our possibly banks or to your company. So March Q2 of last year, Q3 last year, and of course Q4, and of course until today, probably you are already like doing all of the integration, upgrading of your platforms, and maintenance of your platforms to be able to address to the needs of your current clients. So that's what's before, and probably in a nutshell of what's happening in the 2020. So what's hot and what's the trend now or within the pandemic from the last year? So basically, we have seen a lot of improvements in terms of mobile applications coming from the banks. We have seen a lot of web applications from financial services companies or service companies, and of course, insurance companies like the ones that you're seeing right now in your desktop or in your device. So one example really is Gcash. So they started really as a mobile e-wallet, and now they have upgraded their platform to almost everything. In fact, I think Gcash will be sharing later on what are in store for them as a company. And of course, the BPI, Security Bank, Metro Bank, AXA are really also doing a lot of things as part of their digital transformation. So digital transformation, digital platforms, online mobile transactions are really being done anytime, anywhere by the rest of our customers or by the rest of your customers. And it's seldom probably that we can see a lot of people lining up in an ATM to get their transactions or to get their money, or lining up in a bank to get probably a loan, transacting for a credit card, or to pay a certain bill. So that has been, there's really already a shift. And what is the challenge for us now is to ensure that all of the things that we are doing in your IT team or in your IT projects has to be anchored with the needs of your clients. Because we cannot just do a certain mobile app, for example, just for the sake of it, because the competitor is doing this, so we have to do this. So we have to always look into your customer and to your business processes, and we can simplify and make it seamless in terms of your application. So how can design and development help you achieve your business goals? So basically, web design is already talking about UI UX already, which we will boil down to into detail later on as well. So for web design, we have to ensure that it's not too simple and it's not too complex, because again, we want our customers customers happy. You want your clients happy. So that's basically the goal of the web design. And of course, the web or app development focuses on the coding, the testing, and all that aspect from front end to back end. And we have to always ensure that the coding is good. And we have already tested it prior to actually publishing it. So there are also best practices that we will be sharing later on about that. Um, and we have to always ensure also that we have the right buttons through the user interface that we have in the application that you have. So like for example, if a certain customer wants to just basically withdraw or transfer 10,000 pesos, the customer should not be able to go into a lot of pages anymore, just for them to click on the 10,000 and then confirm the transaction. Right now, I think most of the application that we have in the Philippines is they still have to like put in the billers and information or the depositor's information or the account details for them to be able to transfer. So it's like a manual thing every single time that they're going to transfer a money or to transact a certain banking transaction or financial service transactions. So what we suggest always is, if the customer or if you want that a certain feature of your application just really wants to transfer a certain amount to another account, whether that's within the bank or within another bank, they just have to have the correct button and they just have to confirm it themselves, so that of course it would be easy for them, and there's the right buttons for that particular purpose. So again, we have to make everything seamless for our clients. And of course, the user experience, which is also directly related to the user interface, because the goal for the user experience is for a certain client to use the application, we have to ensure that the customer will be able to finish and complete the transaction that he or she is supposed to do. Example, there's an ad probably or a marketing event that your company is doing, and you're advertising your bills payment feature so that all of the transactions will go through that particular platform. And one client is being captured by that particular advertisement or marketing event. And then the user downloads the app, then he or she is going to transact for bills payment, example, because she was very interested about the feature. So now the question about user experience, will the customer finish the transaction? So if not, there would be probably 80% chance that the user experience was bad, because they just really want to pay the bill. But if they are going to go to a lot of pages in your mobile app or in your web app to click on or to type in all the details of particular merchant, he might use another platform for that one, because there's another platform that is easy to use for that particular purpose. So again, everything is really about the user experience. We have to ensure that the application that you are creating, that whether that's in mobile or web application, has to influence the behavior and the feeling of the customer. Again, for the benefit of the customer, and of course, if the customer is happy, we are able to meet the goals of the client, then of course, directly, the company will also be happy. So, which means there's a lot of transactions coming in for your application. Okay, so what's really the importance of all those things? So we have been talking about a lot of we don't want to go into technical aspect of things, but we just really want to highlight that the goal of the design or a good design and development is to increase revenue. Especially right now that we say, okay, there's a lot of problems. Our sales target should be just like this, because of all the pandemic concerns. The market is slowing down. It's the people. It's not time to invest. But basically, there's a lot of still ways to increase the revenue. In fact, if we can see companies who are in digital transformation already, or who are already embracing digital transformation, not just with the usual mobile app and web app, but probably integrating a lot of things, is really successful right now, and they have actually increased their revenue. And with a good design and development, we are also talking about good credibility, and it will create a good first impression. For example, for first-time users, or if you want to really attract clients from the competitors, for example. And of course, Google ranking is also very important nowadays, because everyone is just going to go to Google and search for what's the best insurance company, what's the best financial services company. So your application, the design and development, has to have that particular feature as well. And again, I've talked about bounce rate earlier, about the user experience. So once a person again logs into a particular platform of your company, they should be able to finish that particular transaction, whether that's going to buy a certain service or certain product of your company. They have to end it at the payment stage. So successful transaction. And not that they have to, okay, I don't like it because it's not loading, or the buttons are not working, or there's a lot of pages, there's a lot of information that is needed from me. So it discourages them to finish the transaction. So we have to really minimize the bounce rate that we have been sharing. I have been sharing earlier. And of course, with a good design and a great design, it will also give us brand consistency. So those are just some of the importance of a great design and development. So what have been the Globe and Yondu projects that we can probably share today with you about the good design and development? So some are in the slide that you are seeing right now. So first is because of all the shift to studying at home, or all of the classes that are already online, and all the sectors probably are going online. So we have to ensure that we have Wi-Fi for especially for the underprivileged. So we have rolled out with Globe through Go Wi-Fi some of these through the LGUs, and it's also through Yondu that the development and maintenance of this platform has been done by Yondu as well. So another part of Globe is really the payment platform. So for example, if you're a mobile app user, or a mobile plan user, or an internet user of Globe, you can actually just pay your bills through this application. So that's also very important right now. So we have been also doing this for the rest of our banking, financial services, insurance companies. So if you also want to talk more about this, you can ask more questions later on, or if not, you can just really connect with your account managers in Globe. And another one is the BGC app, which is also really about the customers, ensuring that the customer knows what's happening in BGC right now, even when there's pandemic, or there's probably like quarantine. And very relevant to the companies, or to the households right now, is how to shop the groceries in their homes. So we have also Pure Gold app. We have developed Pure Gold app through Globe from the last year. And this is actually the fastest growing mobile application that we have right now. So from the time that you want to choose the canned goods, or the actual groceries that you want to buy from Pure Gold, to actual payment and choosing delivery or pick up of the actual groceries that you've bought. So most of these are really customer centric. So the design was really like, we ensure that they are easy to navigate, the buttons are perfect for target markets. And we have captured a lot of things, basically based on the goals of each of these organizations. And hopefully we can actually do also with the rest of your organization. So now let's talk more about the best practices in development. So we just really have like a couple of slides for this one. And it talks about compliance of your objectives in terms of build, operation, and transfer principle, which is very common to the IT guys here in this session. So another thing is provide clear roadmap of your technology. So when you create and when you design and develop a certain platform, it has to be a long-term plan. It should not be just, okay, because of the pandemic, we have to go here. We have to invest or we have to develop these things. No, we have to always ensure that, okay, it has to have, for this year, it has to be like this. In the third year, it has to be this. And in the long run, it has to be this with this goal and such those. So it has to have a roadmap. And if you don't have one, we can actually help you on that as well. And basically, again, becoming efficient is cost savings and operational efficiency for the long term. So here, you can see the delivery framework that we observe in Yondu. And this is what we are actually doing with Globe and with our clients right now. So basically, you can say, okay, that's really common, Jules, or that's what we are doing. So what we just really want to emphasize with this is having a program director or someone who is going to be accountable with the rest of the development and the rest of the operations regarding your design and development project. Why? Because there has to be someone who should be managing the entire governance of your IT and whatever technology principles that you have in your company. And this director or program director should have a buy-in of all the development team and operations team, and has also the right influence to the business sponsor, the user, the SMEs, and the investors or the stakeholders in your company. So, like for example, why we're really seeing this one is most of the time when we meet a certain client, they have already a development team, they have already their CTO, they have already the structure of their IT team. But every single time, like for example, a mobile application project, they have already existing resources, existing teams, but they don't have someone who's going to be accountable aside from all the CTO or the IT heads. And it's so difficult to get approvals. It's so difficult to get decisions right away because, again, we have to go up to the CTO, to the upper management. But if in case, like for example, you have your program director or someone who has the blessing to decide on behalf of the company for the project, then that is the easiest part. And of course, all of your development team and operations team has to be backed up by a tech pool. So probably you would say, oh, we don't like that because that's a cost. So you can actually just partner with vendors like Globe or Yondu, who can just really provide you some resources right away within a certain period of time. So you don't have to really, maintain the cost of hiring those resources. And of course, principles of your company in terms of solutions and tech governance, because each of the banks, each of your financial service companies, and insurance companies have different processes or they have different approaches. So you have to establish your own solutions and tech governance as well. And of course, back up again by your EPMO, by your security, which is very important in your industry, for cloud and infrastructure. So that's basically it for tech governance. Some emphasis on the program director. So again, let's just go back to also the delivery approach. So there's also a lot of delivery approach. You have waterfall, but what we usually recommend to our clients is agile. So that you will be able to prioritize whatever features of the platform you have, and then you can just launch it and publish it to the market or to your target clients. And then later on, if you want to improve it, if you want to add some features or development in your projects, then you can just, again, have like a sprint again and then launch it again. So clear example for that would be like a Union Bank app or BPI or all other apps, or even Grab, which is a very classic example that we usually share with our clients. They started just really as a Grab taxi, but now even Grab Food is there, Grab Pay is there. So it launched the initial purpose or the initial feature that they want to be used by their customers, and then later on they grow the application, they innovate based on the needs of the market and of their clients, and then that's basically what this delivery approach is really talking about. And just really more on establishing also on the squads, which is the support system for your application, design and application project. And yeah, so that's it for our delivery approach. Again, going agile. Agile is for us the best approach, especially for those projects that has a 6-month timeline, 1-year timeline. And when we say about when we talk about delivery squads, what we mean by this is to group all of your experts within your team based on their expertise, which is, for example, web and mobile developers, people who are expert in API integration, QA or the testing and operations, the UI UX, which we have talked about earlier, and all other tech stack that you have in your company. So you have to group all together based on the expertise. And when you have a project, you just have to really get out of these squads that you have. So most of the problem right now of the clients or banks or financial service companies and insurance companies is, where do we get the experts, or where do we hire IT resources? So, well, of course, naturally, you would go to your HR team and say, okay, HR team, just please hire 30 IT resources for us. And it would probably be a challenge for the HR team to recruit, because everyone now is really hiring IT resources. And you just need the resources or the IT guys just for 1 year or 2 years. You don't really need them for an eternity, for the rest of the time, because you just have them for a certain project. So with that, for you to be able to have delivery squads, what we usually recommend with Globe is to partner with vendors. So you might have like staff augmentation vendors, or you have IT solutions vendors, which also like Globe and Yondu can also help you with. So that's it for delivery squads. Again, the principle of this is to ensure that you have the right people. You have no people problem in case you have already development. Because you know what, the biggest problem or challenge of design and development is always about having the right people and ensuring that the people are within the budget. So for those two things or two challenges that you might have, then there's actually a lot of solutions for that one. So again, that could be probably internally hiring in your team, or partnering with a certain vendor or an IT company to help you out with your project. So that's it for the delivery squads. This is actually one of the best practices that the current clients right now are doing, and we are actually recommending as well. So just briefly, how can we help in terms of those things? First is solutions blueprinting, which is really the architecture of your roadmap in terms of your IT projects. So basically, as Globe and Yondu, we will create the roadmap on your behalf. This can actually be for free, depending on your Globe account manager. And for UI UX as well, we can also create the interface and the user experience on your behalf through Globe as well. And of course, for example, you just really want to outsource the entire or a part and parcel of your development project or design project, then we can actually go into the web and mobile app development as well. So these are, on the right side, are some of the clients that we have in terms of all these services. So if you're very interested with this, just please connect with your account managers in Globe and we can discuss more about this. And if you have more questions also, feel free to, again, chat and we will answer it within this session, or if not, later on. We'll just have to carve out after this webinar. So let me just probably end this talk with a little of trivia. So from 2019 to 2020, there have been 250 million daily app downloads. So imagine if you are one of the organizations who already have a stable or a growing or an upgraded platform online or in the app stores, then hopefully you were part of the 250 million. And in terms of mobile application, there were 3.14 million Android apps and there's 2.09 million Apple iOS apps. And the growth has been very drastic because of the pandemic. So as the influencers and decision makers of your company in terms of IT or in terms of your business operations, or probably in procurement, if you're from the procurement guys, the challenge really is with all these things that is happening around us or within the Philippines is just to really accelerate your digital transformation and take your business to greater heights. So yeah, if you have more questions about the things that I've talked today, just feel free to ask them. And if not, let's meet, and we'll be happy to give you a free digital transformation consultation. So thank you so much, everyone, and nice to meet you today. Andrea?
Thank you so much, Jules. Now, wasn't that good way to look back from deposits and withdrawals, from being able to send money over taps on our phones? It was very interesting to see through proper planning with internal stakeholders that we are able to design the best channels for our customers. Now, I know you have a lot of questions like what Jules mentioned, so please do message us through our chat box and we will answer them lately. So moving on, we've learned about designing our digital platforms. The next question is, how do I now encourage my customers and users to use these platforms? Or how do I ensure that that they are continuously active and engaged? To give us the digital perspective on how enterprise businesses can maximize digital platforms through engaging content and features, let us call our next speaker from Gcash. Being a fairly newcomer from fintech, Mio brings a fresh perspective to an increasingly in-demand and competitive industry. With a strong background in customer service, honed overseas, he helps bridge the gap between businesses and their customers. This allows him to present partners with the right solutions that benefit their customers and stakeholders alike, retaining and even growing their existing bases. As of late, he has taken the lead role of working with the insurance and loans industries and provide industry-leading fintech solutions that are secure, convenient, and deliver tangible results that partners to their customers. With the accelerated shift to digitalization brought about by recent events, Mio and his team work to even partners in the industries are equipped to face the current challenges and future beyond. To talk about engaging financial customers in digital platforms, please welcome Mr. Emilio Ylanan.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Andrea, for the introduction. So let me just share my screen. Yeah, great. So once again, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having us. So thank you, Globe, and of course, all of the partners present with us today. I'm truly humbled not to be invited to speak at this event. So I'm here today to share with you how Gcash has successfully navigated through the impacts of the pandemic, and despite the difficulties, achieved record-breaking growth and success. And the main contributing factor to that success being engaging with our customers. So at Gcash, we have a vision for finance for all. And this is at the center of everything that we do at the company. So from the products we have on offer, the experiences we craft to engage with our customers. It's what drew me to the company in the first place, and it's what draws millions of Filipinos to our platform. Now, personally, I'm a firm believer that regardless of whatever industry we're in, whether it's fintech, service, or banking, finance, we're in the business of people first and foremost. Putting our customers first, addressing their needs, and creating solutions that ultimately benefit our customers. And I think we can all agree that financial inclusivity benefits everyone. Now, I'd just like to share some statistics with you. So on the left-hand side, you'll see the need for financial inclusion in the Philippines. So actually, to date, 66% of Filipinos don't have access to formal bank accounts. Less than 5% have access to credit cards or investments. And 36% don't have physical access to a bank. Right? Now, that's completely opposite to the right-hand side, where we see the massive opportunity brought about through telecommunication services. So we have over 124 million SIM subscribers across all networks in the country. We have over 65% smartphone penetration in the market, and we have over 76 million internet users. And as we know, this number continues to grow day by day, with partners like Globe, of course, providing more access. Majority of Filipinos for whether it's mobile data, or internet at home. Now, as you can see here, the pandemic has really hit the economy quite hard. No? So what ended up happening in 2020, the GDP dropped by 9.5%, right? One of the largest drops, if not the largest drop we've had since World War II. That left 5 million Filipinos jobless and over 4.5 million MSMEs fully or partially closed. Now, Gcash stood firm and helped push the economy forward by giving access and facilitating fund transfers to over 500,000 social merchants nationwide. We also kept onboarding new merchants, adding 11,000 during the course of the pandemic alone, helping existing businesses shift to the new normal and beyond. 2020 has taught all of us that we need to shift gears. With the impacts of the lockdown, we observed 3 major pain points. The first was the no-contact revolution. So given the fears, of course, with the pandemic and virus transmission due to face-to-face engagements, we all took it upon ourselves to minimize physical contact as much as possible. Second, as we were asked to stay home for extended periods of time, we began to see virtual communities popping up. Now, whether they be larger communities online, stay-at-home bakers selling their goods in social media, viral tutorial videos, or TikTok. So these communities all pushed for connectivity via digital platforms. Lastly, because of the health risk, the economy went into survival mode, and the public struggled to navigate volatility that we experienced in the market. Now, given these changes, Gcash complemented the stay-at-home lifestyle by providing easy access to highly relevant use cases like shopping online, paying bills, and even buying loans, all from the comfort and safety of our customers' houses. We connected virtual communities and facilitated payments from sellers to buyers through P2P and bank transfer services. Lastly, we extended a helping hand and offered highly competitive financial services to help mitigate the financial impact of the lockdown. Now, all of this would not have been possible without the help of our partners in the financial sector. Now, to date, we're the #1 mobile wallet app in the country, and we have a highly active user base of over 33 million users. That means 1 in every 3 Filipinos is a Gcash user. Now, our base stays true to the vision of financial inclusivity, with over 1/3 of them utilizing our financial services like GSave, GCredit, GInvest, and GInsure. That's noteworthy as well that our active users have an average daily transaction of 2 times per day, meaning that we've truly become a part of their everyday lives. And we ended the year facilitating over 1 trillion pesos worth of transactions on our platform, showing that people trust Gcash. So here are some of the waves of virality that went in 2020 that Gcash enjoyed. So these are some more tangible examples of what we're doing with real impact. Gcash became the top app, as we mentioned, during the lockdown. We also saw an increase of partners shifting to digital, and that online presence was amplified through social media and memes. Our partnership with the government agencies and LGU, we were also able to disburse 16 billion pesos to beneficiaries during the pandemic. It became the go-to payment method for digital acts of bayanihan, with our QR codes initially designed for brick-and-mortar stores being adapted for online use. And lastly, we capped the year off on a high note by having over 7.7 million logins in a single day as part of Merry Gcash. So one of our ways of spreading positivity and engaging directly with our customers. So how did we do it, right? So we talked about what has been, what's happened in the last year, and basically how did we, right? And this is sort of harping back what Jules mentioned about creating an app, right, or an online platform, and talking about its design. So it all starts with the Gcash app, right? It's the main way that any Gcash user interacts with our services, and whether it's our own services or the services of our partners. It's a far cry from when Gcash started many, many years ago, still part of Globe, as a purely SMS-based service on feature phones. So this is pre-smartphone era now. And since then, we've built a robust app that's highly visual, that's aesthetically pleasing. Its unique icons and logos complement simple interface. It's informative, so all the info that you need is at your fingertips without being cluttered or difficult to understand. And lastly, it's intuitive. It's easy to navigate and set up, and we've had great positive feedback from first-time Gcash users and first-time smartphone users alike. So hopefully some of you present with us here today are existing Gcash users. If you are, then I'm sure you've gone through the app, the whole verification process. And we'd love to know what you guys think. Now, in connection with the app itself, Gcash really goes above and beyond in ensuring our customers' security and safety. So this is something that we all take very seriously, especially here within the financial sector. But through the course of the past year, we've continued to improve our onboarding process, streamlining account creation and verification down to just 3 minutes per user, all while adhering to the highest standards set by the BSP. We've improved our existing security protocols on the app by utilizing biometrics as a formal mode of entry into the platform on top of our MPIN, OTP, two-factor authentication measures. And lastly, we moved to protect our users from unauthorized and fraudulent transactions with our Customer Protect program, ensuring up to 100,000 pesos in their e-wallets against these types of transactions. Now, Gcash, we do understand that getting people to shift digital can be a very difficult and daunting task, especially when dealing with people's hard-earned money. But with these initiatives, we've earned the trust and confidence of our customers through our platform. Now that Gcash has grown into what it is today, and we've discussed the app and its security features, the other thing that really sets us apart are the solutions that we offer. We're leading the way in differentiated services that Filipinos deserve. First, let's talk a little bit about the consumer use cases, right, that we have on the platform. So you could say that these fall under the everyday use category. So we provided access to relevant cases like buying load, paying for your bills, and even sending money to other Gcash users. Now, what Gcash did was we partnered with payment facilities, remittance centers, and of course, all of you here present in the financial sector, and integrated your services into our platform to provide a digital experience that benefited both partner and customer. These were services that were already available on Gcash pre-pandemic. These grew in usage exponentially in the midst of the lockdown. And not only with new users coming on board, but new partners as well, growing the Gcash market. Now, something I really want to focus on, particularly about engagement. We saw the previous slide, the everyday use cases, where we were already poised to provide these services and further enhance them. But what we recognized from our customer base was we could provide more than just the basic, often expected services. We wanted to do more, and we expanded to include more services and more offerings that not only set us apart, but allowed us to connect with our customers and our customers to connect with each other. Now, we became a partner in the e-commerce space, from being able to purchase basic goods like groceries, fashion finds, even tech products now. We made the process of sending money more human and more personal by allowing you to send video clips, personalized messages, and even incorporating holidays and special occasions into that as well. If you're an existing Gcash user, or if you've seen it on social media, you've seen things like send ang pao for Chinese New Year. You've seen also our Merry Gcash last year, and even for Valentine's Day we had one as well. So we also gamified our CSR initiative of G Forest, where you and your friends' usage of the app translates into real-world impact, where we use our platform, and we can also, translates into real-world impact, and we use our platform to reach out to the marginalized sectors through Gcash for Good. So as you can see, other than the transactional side of things, we also really try our best to go out of our way to connect not only with our existing customer base, but the marginalized, the underbanked, the underserved, who are unfortunately sort of excluded from the financial services that we currently have on offer. And then something we're extremely, extremely excited about, and something actually that launched officially to the public just yesterday, we have GLife. So where we're able to bring brands, companies, and services closer to our customers by allowing partners to create mini programs that run in the Gcash app. This leverages our 33 million plus users. The likes of KFC, McDonald's, and Lazada, just to name a few, and the list growing day by day. We truly are on the way from transforming Gcash from just a mobile wallet to an indispensable app for everyday needs and lifestyle wants. Your Super Life app. Now, in line with our vision for finance for all and constantly adapting the needs of our customers, we have differentiated ourselves even more through our financial services. We use our financial services to provide a safe haven for our users, making it easy to open up a savings account or start investing, the process taking no more than 3 clicks. We offered credit lines to augment the financial gaps that people experienced during the pandemic, helping purchase groceries or pay bills with G-Credit. And lastly, we moved to protect our customers with our insurance marketplace, providing highly affordable products to secure them and their loved ones for the potential circumstances brought about by COVID-19. Now here we want to present Gcash not as a competitor in the financial industry or as a disruptor, but as a valued partner that allows us to reach out to more Filipinos. We talked about the services that we offer that allow Gcash to engage with customers, but what about Gcash engaging with partners? So Gcash is aggressively partnered with the top corporations and MSMEs to help pandemic-proof their business and their workplaces. With our B2B solutions for collections and disbursement, we were able to ensure that our partners had the capacity to operate on a fully digital scale when it came to facilitating fund transfers. On the collection side, we were able to offer digital payment solutions like QR codes and online payments. We were able to offer Bills Pay as a channel for customers to pay via the Gcash app. And lastly, we saw companies needed a way to disburse funds seamlessly without having payees go to a physical establishment or ATM or go through any lengthy process. In reality, the B2B side of our business greatly impacts the engagement we have with our customers. As we saw with the developments like Gcash and other more lifestyle-focused products, all of the partners, add value to the Gcash ecosystem as well. Now, speaking of ecosystems, this is a great way to sort of summarize and visualize the points we've already discussed. Now, ultimately, engaging with customers is not measured by one specific metric. It's not just about marketing or connecting with just in social media. And it's not about getting good reviews or good feedback. It's having a vision that puts our users at the center of everything that we do. From our millennial students and young professionals, to the households and families, the rural and marginalized Filipinos. This ensures that whatever products or services we bring to market revolve around their needs and their wants, keeping in mind our goal of financial inclusivity. If you really wanted to, you could boil it down to 3 major points. First would be having a vision. Second would be being able to communicate effectively with our customer base. And the last one would be being adaptable to their needs, to their needs and their wants, making sure that we're agile, as Jules mentioned, to address these needs and situations as they arise. I'll use myself as a very real example. So I am, of course, a Gcash user. So my wallet, for example, is partially funded by my payroll, which enables me to take care of my everyday needs and expenses. Now, at the same time, I can also use that same pool of funds to pay for a meal at my favorite restaurant or coffee shop using a QR code, for example. I can then purchase something while I'm having lunch from Lazada online through the GLife app. And at the same time, I can also set aside money for savings or choose to invest it. Now, all of this is possible on a single platform, empowering users with an unprecedented level of control over their personal finances. Now, at Gcash, we really are at the forefront of the new normal, providing safe and relevant financial services via a cashless ecosystem. And what we've seen is, with the large shift of everyone to digital platforms such as Gcash, we don't see this shift dying down just because of the pandemic. Yes, it definitely accelerated the push and the growth in this sector. We don't foresee people shifting back how things were. As more and more people gain access to these types of platforms and experience ease of transactions, the security, and the whole lifestyle aspect of everything that we bring, we continue to see this number grow, not just in the new normal, but beyond as well. Now, lastly, I would just like to leave you with some more current and very real examples of how Gcash is improving the everyday lives of Filipinos across sectors and demographics. Now, from our constant social media presence, advocating for financial literacy, empowering MSMEs and enterprises to go digital, all the way down to the grassroots level, where we've done a lot of work in local communities, fishermen and farmers, and even todas and taxi operators. The applications and possibilities with Gcash truly are limitless if we work together through 2021 and beyond. So that actually brings me to the end of the presentation. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening to my story, to Gcash story. And we invite you to partner with us and join us on this journey for financial inclusivity and finance for all. So we'll see you all again later on back at the panel discussion. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to raise them and address them later on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mio. And yes, I think everyone here in the room agrees that finance is for everyone. From what I got, it is also very crucial that while we are engaged with our customers, the financial industry still has a big role in bridging business-to-business engagement that will, at the end of the day, not just reach individuals, but become more holistic towards their satisfaction and fulfillment. And that, ladies and gentlemen, building an exclusive financial ecosystem for every Filipino. Now that we've gained insights from Yondu and Gcash, let's be more fully equipped as we listen to our last but not the least speaker this morning. We have covered both the design and engagement side of the things. Now let's talk about how we can really achieve financial inclusions, digitalizations, and transformation through our next speaker. Regarded as one of the stewards of pioneering and responsive regulatory approach on technology and innovation, his career in BSP or Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, spanning decades of supervisory experience, has not only witnessed and dramatic advancement of technology in the Philippine financial sector, but more importantly, has played a key role in reshaping the regulatory mindset towards a more progressive approach on technology risk and innovation supervision. He has taken a highly critical and challenging role in the BSP as head of the department, primarily responsible for supervision of technology and cybersecurity risks, including emerging technologies. He continues to spearhead various cybersecurity reforms aimed at enhancing the BSP cybersecurity oversight and supervision, as well as promoting a secure and cyber resilient association regulatory counterparts and other relevant stakeholders. As never technology continue to revolutionize today's society, he is yet again at the forefront of regulatory in digital banking supervision and in the key areas of open finance, RegTech, and SubTech. Guests, let us all welcome Mr. Melchor Plabasan. Good morning,
Maraming
sir.
salamat, Andrea. Thank you so much. Hi, good morning, everyone. I'd like to share my screen. Yeah, I'll control the slide from my end. Can I share my screen? Hi. Thank you. Can you see my slides? Hi, good morning, everyone. Again, thank you so much for inviting me here, and I'm honored to join all of you here today in this very relevant industry discussion on practically innovation and digital transformation. Allow me to thank Globe for organizing this event, and of course for inviting me and the BSP to share our regulatory approach on digital innovation, financial technology, particularly those that support offering of innovative financial products and services. Now, it's quite obvious, right, that this pandemic has brought a lot of disruptions to almost all aspects of our life. I think Mio has discussed how this pandemic has become the enabler or the catalyst for everyone to go digital. Right now, going digital is not just a matter of convenience, but in fact, it has become a matter of necessity. And for the BSP, we have also come to realize that this global health pandemic or this global health emergency has only emphasized the need for us to democratize access to financial services. And of course, it has also articulated the need for the Philippines to transform into a safe, secure, and vibrant digital economy. I won't dwell much on this, but I would just like to show it was partially tackled by Mio a while ago, but this figure just shows that the massive shift in consumer behavior. It's true because as you can see here, there was an exponential growth in PesoNet and InstaPay, two of the largest electronic fund transfer facility in the Philippines. So yeah, it shows the preference of Filipinos right now to anything digital. And speaking of this massive shift in consumer behavior, we would like to sustain this momentum. And that's why we recently crafted what we call the BSP's Digital Payments Transformation Roadmap. It's a 3-year transformation roadmap, the ultimate objective of which is to ensure that 70% of Filipino adults have access to a transaction account, be it a bank account, an e-money account, a Gcash account, etc. And to also move or shift 50% of the volume of our retail transactions into digital form. Now, how do we do this? What is this digital payments transformation roadmap? Of course, it operates under 3 pillars. You have there the different digital payment streams or digital payment use cases. We need to create more payment use cases so that we can encourage the public to utilize digital means. We need to improve on digital infrastructure, right? We need to ensure that the infrastructure supporting all of these digital payments are safe, secure, efficient, and interoperable. And of course, we need to have digital governance standards to ensure that the offering of the offering of these financial services is supported it's supported by sound governance standards. I mean, to ensure or to safeguard security and privacy of customer information. So it's also about responsible use of data. So as you can see here, there are prerequisites for us to achieve the objective of our digital transformation roadmap. Of course, again, I mentioned about responsible use of data. We expect players to, ensure that they are responsibly using the data of clients in order to design products that are that would meet the requirements of individuals and businesses as well. We need the national ID. We're fully supporting the national government's initiative on establishing PLCs or the national ID. Gcash would know that customer onboarding is one of the pain points when it comes to digital payments and digital transformation. And probably this national ID can make the onboarding of clients more seamless. And of course, we also need to transform BSP. That's why we're also modernizing our RTGS or real-time gross settlement system, because as you all know, our RTGS serve as the backbone of all retail, large value payments, and essentially all the payment transactions in our economy. Now, over the last, I mentioned about that we've been laying the groundwork for this expanded digital finance ecosystem, and I would like to show here some of the policy reforms that we have done in order for all of this. For us to achieve this goal. You may be familiar with technology-aided KYC. You can now open bank account or e-money accounts at the comfort of your home. You don't need to physically present yourself in a branch of a bank. We paved the way for the creation of the PesoNet and InstaPay through our national retail payments platform, national retail payment system. We are expanding the QR code adoption in the Philippines, because right now, let's say for person to merchant, it's limited to a few merchants. Gcash is one of them. And of course, P2P, we are now using QR code for P2P transfer. Hopefully soon we can make QR code interoperable, which means it's not only Gcash, but also other players that can that can allow their customers to use QR code for, let's say, for payment to merchant. And we have also recently issued our circular on digital banking. So again, this is a framework that we expect to further expand adoption of and use of digital financial services in the country. And also the operator of payment system and virtual asset service provider. These are essentially intended to strengthen regulatory handle of BSP among these institutions. Now, what are some of the initiatives that are in the pipeline that would further support our going to a digital economy? Of course, again, I mentioned we fully support national ID. We now, our speaker from Globe mentioned about open API. So the BSP will soon issue within the first half of this year our regulation on open banking, which was later on termed as open finance. So open finance is more inclusive, so that it captures even other financial products and services that are outside, that are not offered by traditional banks. We are also embarking on amendments to e-money and our outsourcing regulation, particularly because we know the importance of, let's say, cloud. Let's say for technology outsourcing, we know the importance of going to the cloud. Going to the cloud is the first step to digital transformation. That's why we are also amending certain rules to make it a lot easier for institutions to engage in cloud computing activities. And how do we instill trust in this digital age? How do we encourage clients to continue to use digital platforms, right? And so there are, it is important that there is a, I mean, when we say digital governance, I mentioned about observing sound standards to ensure or to safeguard security and privacy of the data of your clients. We also need to, cybersecurity and data privacy is also equally important. We need to observe industry standards when it comes to cybersecurity, and we have provided detailed rules on that. We also need to ensure that these platforms are not used for money laundering or terrorist financing or other illicit activities. And of course, consumer protection. We need to ensure that there are established, I mean, there are consumer assistance mechanisms, and that these financial service providers are being responsive to the needs of your customers, right? You have there, you also need to protect the, I mean, I mentioned about the privacy and confidentiality of data, about the, I mean, transparency when it comes to pricing. But one of the areas that is part of consumer protection that we feel is also important is, I think, literacy, digital literacy. We all know, based on the reported incidents to us, based on the rise in phishing attacks, phishing incidents, that we really need to embark on this literacy program. So that's why we started with Safe at Home sa e-payments, and e-safety is everyone's responsibility. And of course, all our financial service providers are also actively rolling out their financial literacy, digital literacy program. We need also to ensure that the clients should know how to protect their digital identity, should know how to become not a victim of all of these modus operandi or all of these scams. Now, and for us, I think it's always the challenge with adapting it's always a balancing act, so to speak, that we should be able to, we are adapting an open and flexible approach to innovation, while also at the same time we have this responsibility to ensure, let's say, consumer protection, cybersecurity, and financial stability. And finally, this is the end of my side. Ultimately, our hope is that the BSP's enabling regulatory environment would continue to foster what we call healthy cooperative competition, or in short, co-opetition. So among the startups, fintechs, and even traditional players. Just imagine when the advantages of existing players, of course, with their market size and operational scale, are coupled with, let's say, the organizational agility of fintechs, their technical know-how. Just imagine how meaningful or how impactful the synergies could be, and how substantial, let's say, in terms of the improvement in the delivery of financial products and services. Thank you very much, and I hope everyone remains healthy and safe during these trying times. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Sir Melchor. I'm sure our guests learned so much from you today, as much as I am, sir. At this juncture, this is the most exciting part of our webinar, the question and answer. So let me call on our two speakers, Mio and Jules, along with Sir Mel, for the panel discussion. Hi, Sir Mio again, Sir Jules, and Sir Mel. Kamusta? How's our throwback Wednesday, as per Jules earlier? Actually, napa-throwback din ako, sir. If I may recall, when I was in college, kasi I'm paying my tuition fee when I was in college via insurance. So, I took advantage also because yung lugar ng when I get the insurance is Quintin Paredes. So after I make a lined up, and then I'll get the check. Buti na lang, my school is quite near, so along Mendiola Consortium. So if any one of you in the guests are along with the Mendiola Consortium, kamusta po kayo? So I can't imagine now that in a tap of your mobile, online, parang naisip ko before, sana pala nagawa na siya dati pa. No? But then again, of course, I'm sure now we ran faster than time. So I have a lot of questions now with you. So are you excited, Sir Jules?
Hey,
I
let's
think
do
this is for you. So the first, parang ano lang, sir, no? Miss Universe, Mr. Universe. So my first question kay Sir Jules is, since everyone has their own apps already or probably starting to develop their own, what are the current trends of the financial in space in terms of digital platform development?
Mm. So basically, for if you go to technical aspect of things, no, about digital transformation or design and development, probably one solution or one IT framework could be probably similar to another. So the labanan na lang talaga of all these projects is basically the feature of the platform or the app. So how easy it is, or how what are the is it going to be a one-stop shop? So because, like, for example, the trend really now is for a banking mobile app, it's not just really a bank app. So di ba, like, for example, when we look at the a bank mobile app, there's just basically one app is similar to another. It's just that it's a different bank. So now the banks are also like talking to us and to Globe, and the conversation really is about what are we going to do next? What will make us different from the rest of the banks? Or what is the trend internationally? So what we say always is, you have to let us know of what are the target markets that you are into. So for example, there is one bank that we're talking to right now with Karen's team, with NJ's team also, wherein they want e-commerce, or they want to capture all of the Facebook online users, that all of the transactions of those online sellers are going to use the mobile application for all the payments. So they want to create a certain application that is in the particular mobile app that would allow the Facebook online sellers, Instagram online sellers to transact with their customers using their mobile application, which is also the banking application. So it's really a matter of the platform or of the bank. So I think it's that because if you're going to talk about technology, all of the technology framework methodologies are all available to everyone. So they can just really hire internally, as mentioned earlier, and they can just really partner for a certain vendor, probably, for example, and they can just really copy whatever the platform of a certain mobile app. But the difference would always be what is in the app and what is the user experience of the app. So I think that's basically, I think, what I can answer in terms of the trends of the design, probably, or the development of a certain app, especially for those who are already having their own apps right now or developing their apps right now. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Jules. Siguro, ang best way to answer that also for me, no? How is it convenience? Lagi nating iniisip our end user. Is it convenient for me? Is it for, of course, I'm one of the consumer as well. Is it really convenient for me? Is it a friendly users? Because if I may recall, I'm sure a lot of you would relate to me na yung mga seniors ko, because of this pandemic, natuto maging digital at this age, no? My dad also paying his bills online. I taught him how. So that's a very good news for everyone. All right, let's move on to Mio. Hi, Mio. Good morning.
Morning, Andrew.
Okay, for Gcash, started as a money transfer pera padala platform since they have grown to become a leading mobile wallet in the country. From being a day-to-day fully transaction player, what made you transform to who you are today? Wow. What
very
made you
low
transform from who you are today, Mio?
Miss
very
Universe yung tanong.
loaded oh my very loaded question.
Dito nagtanong eh.
Yeah, I mean, I think we touched on it a little bit earlier. No, it was, well, basically shifting, no, from an SMS based platform when Gcash was starting out. This is way back now when Gcash was still part of Globe. I mean, the same, basically a project, no, of Globe. And I think Ernest Koo, no, put it Dept when he spoke at our national conference. At the time, Gcash was sort of ahead of its time. The market wasn't ready, and the technology wasn't quite there, no. And then we saw with the growth of smartphone users and more people gaining access to the internet, that we really had to shift, no? And part of that came with adding all of these services, more lifestyle services and products. No? I guess that's something we're also trying to shift away from being just another mobile wallet. Like Jules said, no, it's really about differentiating yourself with what you can offer. If you know, as Sir Mel also mentioned, we want to promote competition. So obviously Gcash is not the only player in the market. So it's really about how we set ourselves apart, and the direction we're going now is providing financial services to those who don't have access to it, and at the same time providing sort of more of a lifestyle angle, no? Really becoming part of Filipinos' everyday lives.
Okay, thank you for that. Sorry, Jules, I have a follow-up question. I need to go back with you. So the follow-up question would be for Jules. Should we consider new devices like mobile phones or laptops in technology roadmap?
Definitely, yes. So right now, actually, most of the project right now that we have, specifically for banks, financial services companies, and insurance, is that in our development phase, of course, that's really just the coding. But when we test a particular app, before we launch a certain feature or a certain project, we test it per device, per operating system. Because one device, for example, in Apple, is very different in terms of user experience with probably an Android phone. So there's also a big difference from Samsung to iPhone. So and all other brands of the phone, even the phones from China and all that. So that's also that has to be factored in also when you are going to design and develop a certain project. And there's actually a client right now who wants to cover those clients, or probably the elders who are using like Nokia or other phones that are probably not the trendy right now or the trend right now. No. So that's basically an important factor of your design and development project. So yeah.
All right, thank you, Jules. And of course, Sir Mel, how are you? Happy Wednesday.
Yes.
Thank you
Salamat.
for being with us again this morning. Boss, I have a question. It's pretty obvious that there are a lot of digitalization projects ongoing that will cater to the needs of the Filipinos, especially in times like this. BSP has been the greatest enabler for this. If I was the team implementing these projects, what are the key factors that I should look into when starting or improving my digital platforms?
Yeah, I mentioned our colleague, our friends, Mio and Jules mentioned about making it convenient, making it part of your lifestyle. In fact, that has been the objective of most, not only banks, but also EMIs, to make it, hindi lang siya banking app. If you want food, if you want new clothes, if you want car, taxi, diba? You can use the app. So it's really more of making it a part of your life, convenience. But at the same time, I mentioned about instilling trust. How do we also make sure that we are, it should be sustainable. And for it to be sustainable, your clients should be able to continue to use this. So that's why it is also important. Let's say I mentioned about cybersecurity.
Yes.
I mentioned about having in place a structured consumer assistance mechanism. So all of these are taken into account in the, let's say, in the licensing process, in the approval process of the BSP.
Okay, Sir Mel, follow-up questions from our guests. How can consumer protect themselves from hackers who use their identity to purchase online? How can consumer be sure they are well protected? And what are the current sanctions for those who commit fraud by stealing digital IDs? Boss, ito na.
Oo nga. I mentioned about our campaign that e-safety is everyone's responsibility. Of course, we are ensuring that our policy framework is dynamic. We are also ensuring that the financial service providers are adapting industry standards when it comes to cybersecurity, money laundering. Yun. So, but also the client has the responsibility. He or she should know how to protect his digital identity. Then, right? Like, let's say, clicking on malicious links, etc. Diba? I mean, there's this tendency. I mean, for Filipinos to believe everything that they see online. When they see, fake emails, yung mga smishing, fake SMS, or callers, di ba, pretending to be representative of a particular institution. So we also need, clients should also need to be very vigilant. So wag basta maniniwala sa mga SMS or text or emails, and don't share too much. Ang dami din kasi even the photo of their ID of their passport is being shared in social media. So don't share too much then.
I agree. Okay, sir. Noted on that, sir. I will not. No, sir. No, sir. Actually, yes, it's a two-way responsibility, of course, with the merchants, with the banks, and of course, the individuals as well. Tama ka, sir, with a lot of social medias coming up, of course, not all naman your details should be up in the social media. So there you go. Thank you, Sir Mel, for that one. How about we have a question for... Sorry, ang daming mga questions here. For Jules, again, we have an IT roadmap already, but we are having a challenge in having people to do the development projects, and hiring internally is taking time. What's the best approach for this? And we want to be a cost efficient.
Yeah, so I think we have initially covered that one earlier, but probably addition to what we have said earlier is you have to have ready now, ready later resources. So for ready now means they are already hired in your company, or they are already within your company or organization, whether they are internally a plantilla from within your team, or probably coming from a vendor. So that's it, no? And of course, ready later means you have to have like a good pool of resources where, like, for example, when the project is already coming in, and then you have already the management approval to proceed with the design and development, then you have those resources already ready for that particular project. So again, that could be probably from your internal HR team, the source of that resource probably within your team, or again, the best approach, the fastest approach is really partnering with a certain vendor who provides like expert services, which I think Globe and Yondu can help as well. So,
for sure, sir. And a follow-up question again for you, sir. What is the advice that you can give to the teams that implement or sponsor these projects to further emphasize where can they start, or what should they prioritize?
So I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, if I heard it right, I think there's two messages. No? One is for the team who develops it, and one is for the sponsors who actually invest probably the money to be able to create those platforms or design and development projects. So first is to the development team. I think to most of our attendees here or the guests here is to just really prioritize whatever the urgent requirements you have in your company, and then you can just launch it right away, like for example through agile method. And so the application will be running already. The customers can already be starting using it, and then later on you can just add really the features that you want, because you cannot really design and develop everything at one time. So it has to be like a stage, or there has to be like a process for that one, just for you to be able to have an up and running system. So because, for example, for an IT guy, based on my experience, we want to create things right then and there before we launch. Right, so we want to create everything, we want to design everything before we launch the app or the web app or the mobile app. So I think that's basically my advice, our usual advice to our IT counterparts, for example, to our clients. And of course, for the sponsors or to the decision makers of the company, we have to really be open, because there are things that the IT guys really knows on a daily basis. For example, there's a process problem, there's like a people problem, or the budget is we need more budget. So I think for sponsors or business decision makers, you really have to be open about what these guys will be able to give you. And of course, probably you can just seek more advice coming from your other partners, like outsourcing vendors, or like Globe and Yondu, that you can seek for request for. Probably you're talking more about cost efficiency, so you can request for cost comparison analysis, because those providers can actually give you that one, so you can get more data before you actually decide. No, so that's also some of the things that we usually recommend with our clients. But basically boiling down to being open-minded, because sometimes most of the owners of the company or upper management would like to say, I want this now, or I want this within 3 months, 6 months. But realistically, development side of things, technical side of things, well, it can happen, but it might be very challenging for your IT guys as well. So those are the things that I think to answer the question for today.
Okay, thank you, Jules. And for all the panelists, sir, what are the main pain points you have encountered during the digital transformations you have engaged in? I think we have to start with Mio. Go ahead, Mio.
Sure. I guess speaking from my level now of engagement in the company, it's really more of how do we encourage people shift to digital. How do we make them feel comfortable shifting to digital, and at the same time, sort of how do we get them to go to digital while still making them feel sort of human, like it's a human interaction. I think that's something that gets lost a lot. I guess, well, me specifically, coming from my background in the service industry, we're afraid of digitalization, because in the service industry, you're afraid na mawawalan ka ng trabaho, right? A computer can do everything for you. But at the end of the day, at Gcash or at banks, regardless of what you're in, when you interact, when you engage with people, it has to be at a level, with a human level, human aspect to it. Hindi lang siya pwede transactional. I think we're all guilty of that, especially in the finance sector. We all fall into that sort of rut, na, okay, this is the transaction I want to withdraw, ito na pera mo, and then that's it. That's the end of the transaction, right? So for us, it's really sort of making it a little bit more of a human interaction, a human experience, making them feel like they're valued as a customer, as an individual, rather than just another person transacting. And at the same time, that with making them feel comfortable, like with what Sir Melchor said and what Jules said, not only is it important about making the app approachable and easy to use, but secure as well. Let's face it, if people don't trust company behind it, the name, the brand, you can have the best product, but if people don't trust you or you don't have any credibility, it doesn't matter, So that definitely plays a big role as well.
All right, thank you. How about Sir Mel? Sir Mel, what are your main major pain points encountered in doing digital transformation for BSP?
In doing digital transformation in BSP, right? So we are actually, it's really the first step. I mentioned about the first step to digital transformation is really going to the cloud, right? So, I mean, if you have legacy applications, it would really take time for you to go to the cloud. But for non-core applications, I think that would be, I mean, email, etc., collaboration tools, that would be a lot easier. And I think it's not only for the BSP, but for all other organizations, I think. Kasi when you speak about digital transformation, it's not just about technology. Madali yung technology. It's also about transforming people, culture, and mindset. I think
educating, yes.
Yeah, more than the technology, it's really people, culture, and mindset that should be transformed.
Thank you, sir. It's a holistic approach, boss, no? Not just digital, but the people itself. All right, thank you, sir. And of course, Jules, what are your major pain points encountered during digital transformation engagements?
Yeah, so basically for us, it's really a good problem because right now, I think the problem that we've been experiencing in Yondu is that there's really a lot of demands in terms of IT. So like every single day, we are talking to various clients, like seeking our expertise in terms of digital transformation. So there are things that we say, okay, that should not be done because probably this should be what you have been doing or you should be doing. So that's basically, I think, the major pain point. I think on the positive side, because we have more business, we have more clients coming in. But I think on the other side is um, making or have the clients realize that there are certain IT stuff that they have to prioritize before another, because probably they might be jumping to something that is not yet relevant to their problem. So because when they come to us, they have already an idea. Okay, this is what we want. But when we deep dive based on the discussion or on their problems or on their goals, there is another or there's a better way of doing things in terms of like probably a framework. So that's basically, I think, one of the challenges that I can share. Mostly, yeah, that's it. But mostly, most of the time, it's more of a there's a lot coming into us because of the need of the client. So, yeah.
Thank you, Jules.
Then we'll-
Maganda yan, Jules, ha? Problem is a good problem. It's a problem equals solution. So automatic, if somebody asks you, I have a problem, we have a solution for that one. So thank you, Jules. And of course, sir, you are the crowd favorite, Sir Mel. Napainom ng tubig si Sir Mel. So Sir Mel, we have a question from the crowd, from our clients. Question is that I am exploring cloud platforms for my enterprise. What is the best route for me to explore, especially if it's my first time to incorporate the technology?
Again, cloud is not a one size fits all solution. It has to take into account your own business requirement, diba? It also needs to take into account your own risk appetite, your budget. So lahat yun ng consideration eh.
Yes.
I mean, will you go software as a service lang? Will you go, let's say, infrastructure as a service? So you need to do a lot of assessment of your own requirements, budget, etc.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, actually, I received a message here earlier. I think you forgot to answer the questions for what would be the sanctions.
Oo. Parang may gustong manako.
Parang
Anyway.
ko, etong nagtanong na to, sir. Ayun na nga. Baka.
There are laws that provide sanctions for all of these fraudulent activities. We have the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012 and I think the Access Devices Regulation Act. So the sanction would depend on the gravity of the committed yung offense. So there are offense na depending on the gravity, it may entail monetary sanction or imprisonment. But let's say if you're able to compromise 50 or more accounts, I think that would be tantamount to economic sabotage. And I think ang penalty dyan is life imprisonment and non-bailable. If you also hack a banking system, it may be construed na as economic sabotage. So maraming penalties na nag-iintay sa gustong magtangka.
For sure, wala naman dito yon, boss. Wala sa domain for sure, boss. So, next question. Thank you, Sir Mel. Next question is for Mio. As a fintech, you don't have a branch where clients can inquire, raise concerns, and know more about your products. How can businesses encourage customers to shift to digital? How can you give tips on how our audience today can increase their digital and sustain excellent customer service even on digital channels?
Okay, mahaba yung question. Okay, I guess the first part, addressing not having a physical branch or establishment, a brick and mortar establishment for someone to visit. I mean, if we look around, Gcash is not the only one, right? We have, as you said, we have other players in the game, and then even some banks. There are some purely online banks. What it really comes down to is I guess I touched on it a little bit earlier, but especially in the customer service side of things, is yes, we're leveraging technology, whether it's chat, having a helpline, or the usual text and email, such as like what Cash employs, and of course social media. But it's also having people to back it up. It's very easy. I think I'm sure it around. It's very easy, for example, for a Facebook chat bot, to have a templated answer to everything to assist people. So having the customer service team still be people, individuals who can empathize, who can speak, people who can reach out and address them as individuals, really bridges the gap. Yes, we're digital, but behind the technology, behind the algorithm and the AI that we deploy, we have people who genuinely care and want to serve and be of service to our customers. And that would be the short answer, I guess, to that.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Boss Mel, I think Jules has a question for you. So, Jules, hindi naman ikaw yung nagtanong about the fraud earlier, right?
Definitely not.
Okay, go ahead, Jules.
Yeah, thanks, Andrea. Sir Mel, basically, when we talk with a lot of banking clients, most of the time they are asking about, they want to be like ING, Gcash, CIMB, who are really into the digital banking. So so they want to become like that as an organization. So probably they know already, like they have to create another entity for that one, spinning off from their banking, universal bank probably. So usually they talk to us and ask us if they have to talk to a certain vendor to design and develop a certain platform similar to ING, CIMB, Gcash, and spin off once they get an approval from BSP, or do they have to get the go signal first from BSP before they talk to a vendor for the design and development search? So what's the best setup for that one? Because usually that's basically the challenge right now, or the roadmap that they want to go into as a bank or a financial service company.
So are you referring to the digital banking license, framework that we recently issued?
Yes, sir.
So you have two options there. You can create a new entity, or you can probably repackage or transform an existing bank to become a digital bank. It's really up to you. Now, with respect to technology, to the platform that will be used, it's really, again, we don't have an accreditation process. It's really up to the bank to determine which vendor can best meet its requirement, diba? And can transform it into a digital bank. So, Emilio mentioned about customer service. You don't need, there should be one physical office probably just to handle, to house yung mga senior management, board of directors if you have, or if you have probably to address complaints, but it's not a must. You should be, yung being responsive is not a function of establishing a physical office. Right now, what we see is being responsive to the needs of the client is really about having the right people and the right technology, chatbot to respond to your client. So yun, and then you have to meet certain requirements, like the capital is 1 billion. And the most important thing is the business model. The business model should be digital end-to-end. So all products and services would be digital end-to-end. Kaya nga it's quite impossible right now to do this for corporate clients, especially if you have corporate lending, diba? If you have collaterals, etc. You cannot do that right now. At least right now, digitally, unless yung mga collaterals ay
crypto.
We tokenize all the collaterals. Yeah, but yeah, it has to be digital. It has to be digital end to end, and it's really up to you how you would want, or which vendor will help you become digital end to end.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Last question from either from Gcash and Yondu. Sorry. Last question. In Gcash and Yondu, open to a joint discovery session and sharing the best practices discussions with Globe's enterprise accounts? Is
Yes.
that the question?
Yeah,
Sure.
for example, if they want to set up a meeting with us,
Yeah.
they can just really contact their account managers in Globe, and then we can set it up afterwards.
All right. Thank you so much. I wish we had more time. I've seen a lot of questions, but rest assured that we will relay them to your account managers for the pending questions for today. So again, thank you so much, Sir Mel, Sir Mio, and Jules for today and for the insights and the sharings that you've shared to all of us. So thank you. Thank you again. And dear valued clients, right after this session ends, a quick survey will pop up on our browser. You can scan the QR code now, and please do take a minute to answer so that we can use these to further improve our future events. Once you complete the survey, you'll receive a gift voucher. Wow, that worth 500, which you can use to purchase 917 lifestyle items. So also, please keep posted and feel free to reach out to your account managers for our upcoming webinar sessions. So good morning. Again, I am your host this webinar session. My name is Andrea Bautista. Please stay safe and God bless us all. Thank you.